and welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome. Welcome all, whether you're listening via radio, on 95.5 FM in the Bahamas, via internet, on the app TuneIn Radio, or via Cable Bahamas Channel 951. We appreciate you and humbly welcome you to our show. The voice that you are now hearing is that of yours truly, Captain Glenwood Alexander Bain. Most people refer to me as Captain Bain. Some yet rather formal and call me Mr. Bain. And of course, my family and close friends know me simply as Glenn. This is show number 7, people. So please get comfortable, as we are going to learn a good load of maritime security and weapons handling tonight. We're going to delve deep into the handling of small arms, ashore and on board ships. We have for you a slew of experts in weapons training and weapons handling. These are the gurus of this field, people, and they come equipped with the martial arts, the hand-to-hand combat skills to take you down even without their guns. So I'm protected tonight. So buckle up and join us on this exciting and educational adventure into small arms applications in maritime and more. Our sponsors for tonight's show is One-on-One Pharmacy. Listen, people, you want good treatment when you need medication? Check out my little cousin Shantia Heel McBride and her lovely team of One-on-One Pharmacy. Fill your prescription at the store or send your refills via the online site oneononepharmacy.com. The two locations are East Street South and Charles Sanders Highway. When you walk in the door, you'll be treated with utmost royalty. Say hello to my good cousin Stephanie when you walk in there. And of course, let them know that Maritime Matters sent you. And we are sponsored also by Bahamas Maritime Connection. That's right, BMC, that's us, that's my company. We provide a full slate of ISPS maritime security services. That's ISPS assessments, ISPS plans, ISPS audits, the 3 ISPS trainings, ISPS consultants, and so on and so on and so on. So don't hesitate if you need some advice, guidance, anything as far as ISPS maritime is concerned, even guns, please hear us up. To the listening audience out there, it would be remiss of me to go any further and not introduce our wonderful producer. So ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the insatiable, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the one and only Craig Gibson. Hey Craig, he's waving to the audience, people. Craig says hi. You're listening to Maritime Matters, people. On this show, we talk maritime. And tonight, we're going to couple that with weapons, guns, shooting, and all the rest of that good stuff. Maritime Matters is weekly at 19:30, 7:30 p.m. every Tuesday here on Love 97 FM. The purpose of this show is to highlight persons, people, anybody that make contributions to the maritime industry in the Bahamas, and to sensitize Bahamians of opportunities, jobs, shooting ability in the maritime sector and more. Every episode of Maritime Matters will have an exciting guest, either currently or previously engaged in maritime activities. Tonight, the trend continues. We have for you an array of weapons handling specialists. And included in that array of specialists, we do have a former Marine from the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, and you will be hearing him, his president, and the rest of the team. She don't want me to say, and her. Okay. So, as I said, we have our third female Maritime Matters guest. Last week, we had International Women's Day. So the trend continues. We had two female guests the week before. We had my daughter Misty last week, and tonight we have a woman who shoots guns. This diva handles a gun like you wouldn't expect, folks. So together with her colleagues in shooting, It will enlighten us on all we need to know about owning and operating a weapon in the Bahamas. And in keeping it maritime, we shall also explore some of the measures and procedures adopted for the safety and protection of ships at sea. Halfway through the show, as usual, we will open the phone lines. The number to call will be the same, 326-8255. Meantime, allow me to revisit some of our existing local maritime matters. And this is going to be short, sweet, and quick, because you already know this stuff. The Genting Hong Kong group still has their bankruptcy in order. The bank is still holding on under arrest. The two ships off Freeport, which are the Crystal Symphony and the Crystal Serenity. So there's no changes there. Again, we talk about the sinking of the Tropic Breeze by the super yacht Utopia 4. Again, we haven't gotten any update as far as information on the release of all the investigations into that matter. Thirdly, we have the sinking of the small vessel off Florida that departed Bimini days earlier. We continue to await the outcome of the investigation surrounding this tragic mishap. And we're not going any further because we don't have time tonight. We're going to go so deep into these weaponry stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, you wouldn't believe the show you're going to listen to tonight. So there it is, current maritime matters in a nutshell. At this point, I once again highlight our four marine maritime standards. May their souls continue to rest in peace, and there wouldn't be a show when they would not be mentioned. So to Senior Commander Amos Rowe, to Port Controller Extraordinaire, Mr. Leon Flowers, to the great, His Excellency Captain Wally Gray, and of course the Sea Wolf, the gold medalist, Sir Derwent Randall Knowles. We say continue to rest in peace. We're talking maritime, people. Welcome to Maritime Matters. At this point, we move to our first break. Yeah, we're going to take a break early tonight, because when we get started, we're going to be rolling. And when we return, we will engage tonight's maritime guests.
At One-on-One Pharmacy, our friendly staff is ready to serve you. Visit us today for all your prescription and over-the-counter needs at our East Street South or Charles Saunders Highway locations. We're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from 9 to 4 on Sundays. In a rush? Send your refill scripts online at oneononepharmacy.com or ask about our convenient pickup service. One-on-One Pharmacy, providing personal health care with people at heart.
Watching the ships roll in, and I watch them roll away again. Sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll in.
And welcome back. We're talking maritime, people. And tonight, we're talking weapons on and off ships. Our guests tonight are well qualified for this discussion, and of course, they are all vastly experienced gunnery specialists. This crew, ladies and gentlemen, by due diligence, hard work and dedication, established what we have today as our country's very own Firearms Association. An amazing bunch, this lot. And they continue to play their role in revolutionizing our weapons training and handling industry. Here sits some sharpshooters, people. They have climbed to the mountaintop. Using martial art techniques, they wrestle down the booted in and chew on the beetle nut till they're all filled. So brace yourself for a highly informative, lightly provocative weapons discussion. And now, without further ado, I am pleased to introduce my guests. They each have weapons. They are all weapons experts in their own right. Well-informed individuals with superb gunnery skills. I present to you tonight just a few persons here that would want to be, you would want to be your friend. You would want them to be a great friend. Because once you're with them, you're protected. Small Arms Masters from the National Firearms Association of the Bahamas. President, Mr. Marvin Gordon. Vice Chairman, Ms. Rashida Godette. And of course, one of the directors, Mr. Virgil Thurston Sturrock. Brother Gordon and your team, please welcome to Maritime Matters.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having us.
So, allow us to get an insight as to what this Nassau or National Firearms Association for the Bahamas is all about.
National Firearms Association, we are a non-profit, and we came together to have an outlet for some 40,000 plus licensed firearm owners here in the Bahamas.
Wow, we got that much here, 40,000 plus.
Yes.
Woo.
So our goal is to the promotion of our firearm safety and knowledge, also to provide and to the Bahamas certified training. That's something we haven't ever had here, but not just any training. It's international accredited certified training for both civilians and law enforcement. Our organization is partnered with the NRA.
What is the NRA?
NRA is the National Rifle Association of America.
National Rifle Association. That's international or national?
That's National Rifle Association is a U.S. based, North American based rifle
Also,
association.
that's not Bahamas national. That's
No,
U.S. national.
That's the
Okay, beautiful.
North America, who is pretty much the gold standard for certified training.
Right.
Okay. So we're also a pro-community and anti-crime organization. We have, although we do have a lot of firearms-related courses, we also have pro-community, anti-crime. We have women empowerment courses. We have personal development courses, personal defense courses. So there's a lot. Our organization encompasses a whole lot. It's all about the protection and of the Bahamians and just bringing something unique here to the Bahamas.
Beautiful, beautiful. And with you, you have your vice chair and one of the directors. I don't know which one's going to speak first, but we need them to be introduced to our audience.
Well, I guess our director here is definitely, he's one of our spokespersons, so he can definitely introduce himself.
Good night. My name is Virgil Thurston Sturrock. As you would have heard from Captain D, and I am a former Marine from the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Left and went into the U.S. State Department under the U.S. Embassy. From there I came out into the private security field, where I am now involved in mostly training. I used to do a lot of security operations, but now I focus solely on the training aspect of weapons, explosives, and martial arts, and also close protection training as well.
Beautiful. And we have the beautiful Rashida.
Rachetta.
I always get the name wrong.
Yes.
Excuse me. The beautiful Rachida, who's the vice president of this great organization. Rachida, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi everybody, I'm Rashida and I am the Vice President of the National Firearms Association. I'm happy to be here. I mostly serve as Vice President, Legal Counsel, and the one who the President wasn't around. And I am excited to be a part of this group. I am learning as well. I'm learning and I'm encouraging everyone, to promote firearm safety and knowledge.
Do you shoot?
I do.
You shoot well?
As far as they're concerned, I think we all agree that I do.
Okay. I just wanted to know when they approach you correctly.
You got it.
Thank you very much. Okay. So, Mr. President, when was the NFAB established?
The NFL was established back in 2016, and what we did, we took a few years to really get pretty much our ducks in a row, as is a proper term, so that when we do fully launch to the public here, we would have a lot of things established instead of trying to launch and then trying to do things as we go along. So we established, and we actually applied for a non-profit association license as an NGO. and we finally got that in, I think it was last year, 2021. Of course, the whole world lost almost 2 years,
Yes, yes.
due to the pandemic and all that, yeah,
That's right.
because the original idea was the launch in 2019. But at the end of 2019, we started to see COVID coming, and then 2020 was, and then so we finally picked back up mid 2021, hit the ground running. So we're pretty much ready now to fully launch a lot of our programs, a lot of things we want to do, a lot of our partnerships. We have since pretty much do a PR tour. We went to see all the ministries that be involved in firearms, including National Security Ministry, who was there, and we just recently been to the AG office, Attorney General office. Yeah. So we definitely just letting everybody know that we're here. All about the association. We're not just a fly-by-night club. We're a full organization and association. We have a lot of plans and a lot of things planned for Bahamas.
Beautiful. So what existed before you guys? What existed in 2016 as far as firearms is concerned, and trying to network and like what you set out to do? What existed prior to that?
Well, prior to that, in 2016, we conducted training, but it was not organized to the level that is now organized through Mr. Gordon. The training packages were done basically for persons that have a firearm, didn't know anything about that firearm, and wanted to be trained at a certain level. So we had a range area that we took them to, instead of in the bushes that most people like to go. We have
Just go and bush it and shoot till you start hitting the target.
Right, we have a proper range, and
So you have a range now that civilians can go to?
Yeah, we have a private range that they can arrange with us to
Yeah,
go
use.
to. And
What area is that range in? I need to know when not to drive.
Well, that's the thing with working with the organization. We try to do everything in a positive and safe way. So our range is 100% safe. It's not going to be a situation where, which is very dangerous, and I really encourage persons who own a firearm, if you are one who go to a remote area, go in the bush shooting, let's please see if we can discontinue that, and please find a safer way to use and practice with your firearm. Get in contact with us if you want to. We can invite you down to a proper range where it can be safe to use. But yeah, we are working, we're actually working on a proposal. Can't talk too much about it, but we're going to see if we can do a nice big range where everybody can just come on a regular basis as much as they want. So we're working on doing a nice public range really soon.
So where's the range that they go to now? I still need to know which part of Nassau to stay away from.
Oh, it's in the southwest. It's in the Fire Trail West area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, is that the police range? That's
No,
not the police range.
no.
Or it's
Like I said, it's close. It's close enough. It's close.
Okay,
It's close. Yeah. Like I said, it's a private range, and with access, you have to contact us to get access to it.
Okay, beautiful.
right. And we're encouraging persons to join the National Firearms Association, get in contact with us, because we are all about promoting firearm safety. Because believe it or not, with that 40,000 plus firearm holders, you will be surprised of the percentage of those who have never shot their firearms.
Yeah,
They
I
brought
imagine
their
so.
firearms.
They're probably trying to find
An outlet.
like you guys,
Yes.
Right.
so that
Yes.
they can be comfortable firing,
Right.
actually learning to fire the firearm,
Right.
and also learning to clean it.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
our programs cover all of that. Our program covers safety. It covers everything. From down to your ammunition choice, straight up to how to properly clean and store your firearms. Especially if you have like kids in the home, you want to be able to properly store your firearms and keep it out of the hands of those who don't need to be touching your firearm and stuff like that. So our program covers all of that.
So your objective, mission, vision for this organization is basically to have a platform for people, novices, etc., to have a way to properly get into using.
Yes. Our
Do
ultimate
you have
vision.
them purchase or obtain a firearm as well? 'Cause I know
We
that-
can provide information. Anybody who's looking to purchase or obtain firearm, they must go through the firearms division of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. They are the licensing authority.
Okay.
For those who are not sure how, we can provide information how you go about that. But ultimately, everybody has to go through that process to get a firearm. Ultimate goal would be to see if we can partner with the National Security Ministry, for example, and have persons trained even before they decide to make that choice to purchase a firearm.
That's what I want to get, because if you have a situation where somebody has a firearm, never fired one, don't even know how to fire it,
Right. and that's very
First time they
dangerous.
shot, they go pick it up.
Right,
They get the
and
problem.
right, and the firearm they purchase is actually more dangerous to them because, like you said, they don't have the relevant training.
So how could they go ahead and get a license for firearm if there's no evidence that they know how to use one?
That's the problem.
That is one of the issues.
That's one of the
that
issues right now
that
that we're
are
trying to
facing.
address, and we're trying to do our best to expeditiously address because
So
they
you find a way to cause some certified training to be
right. So
done.
this is what we're trying to do our best to address to see if we can push with the relevant authorities, whereas persons would have to get some kind of training. I'm not saying they have to sit in a 2 or 3 day, 1 week training, but they need some kind of safety training, some kind of basic use training.
Weapons arming.
Yeah, and it's
And weapons cleaning.
all of that. They really need to know how to do. So, for example, let's just use our neighbors in the north, the U.S. That's one thing we always kind of go to because they're the closest, right? You need a Class G or Class C license, which basically means you find an organization that teaches a course. You sit an 8 to 10 hour course. At the end of that course, you get a certificate.
Right.
Then you take that certificate to actually get your license for your firearm. Okay, so
you
that's
know
how
what properly.
that's how it actually works. So we're trying to do something similar here. Whereas persons reach out to an organization, they don't have to just be NFA. It could be any other training organization that qualifies for a certain level of training.
What are some of those training organizations
I-
in the Bahamas?
I only know of one, and the gentleman sitting next to me, who's now a part of my board. That's the only one I know.
That's the only one I know about too.
That's the only I know. Yeah, that's the only one I know, and this is one of the reasons why we really push to try to do a proper organization, and that's our goal. Not and
So
again.
once they come to the association, you could take them from there.
Yeah, but once, the website too. They can go to the website and they can read up on all the available courses. They can read up all the
What is the
information.
website?
The website is nfa.org.bs. That's NFA Nancy Frank Apple at .org.
November Charlie Foxtrot.
November Charlie Foxtrot. All right. So yeah, they can go ahead and go to the website, and the website has everything they need. They can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For those who are social media junkies.
Right.
So we try to put ourselves out there everywhere. All the information is readily available. All the courses are readily available. Like I said, we have civilian and we have law enforcement courses.
So all your courses are up on the website.
On the website, they can look at them. They can take the list of a lot of courses there. We also have launching very soon. My VP and other ladies who are part of our team. They're going to be launching a number of women empowerment courses. Refuse to be a victim. The SWAG course, which is Strong Women and Goals, which is just focus on getting women stronger and more independent, teaching them how to be more safe, defend themselves, stuff like that. So those courses are something we really want to start pushing almost right away.
Well,
Like I
that brings me to the question on handgun stuff. A woman carrying a rifle is not something I can readily vision, although they probably do it in the U.S. But most of them carry handguns.
Yeah.
So we don't have women carrying handguns to protect themselves once they do the training here in the Bahamas?
I cannot answer that for you, sir. That is something that the authority is Bahamas Police Force would have the answer for you, sir.
Is there legal requirements? Do we have anything to stop it from happening?
Yeah, there is legal requirements. Like I said again, the only person who can issue any type of firearm in this country is the Bahamas Police Force.
Is there a moratorium? Is there a stoppage on issuing a license for a handgun?
Again, that question will have to be put to the relevant authorities. That will have to be addressed
If
in
you have an
ministry.
association for firearms, if you can't answer that, then why would you have an association for firearms?
Because our goal is
You should know all the legal
Exactly.
parameters
Yeah,
surrounding
we can-
firearms.
as it stands right now,
Mhm.
the way the law is constituted in Chapter 213 of the Firearms Act,
Now we talking. What is it?
the Commission of Police is the end spot for issuing of concealed weapons. And until legislation is put in place to change that policy, that is the way it's going to stand.
So the Commissioner of Police, in essence, can give somebody a license for a concealed weapon.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Also, so you can get license for concealed
You
weapons.
can,
Yes,
again, you
But
have
do you
to.
offer training for concealed weapons?
We have training for anything.
Do we
Any
have,
firearm.
Do we have any firing ranges, indoor firing ranges in the Bahamas?
At this time, we don't. We are working on
Getting one together now.
putting one together.
What would you need, just about having the money and putting the building there, and is it something that you have to get a special permission to do?
Well, from what we understand in one of our meetings that we had with relevant authorities, there's nothing stopping us from doing that. I think one of the biggest issues that's why it's probably wasn't here before in the past is the fact that the knowledge and the know-how is one. It's not as easy as you would think, but putting up a range.
Tiny countries like I'm thinking about Europe with India,
Exactly.
Exactly. Competition with handguns.
Exactly.
I'll chime in here and say the major issue with that situation is the stigma of firearms in the Bahamas. In those countries that you speak about, firearms are looked at in a different light. Most of the times you hear about firearms in the Bahamas is in the commission of a crime, it's either a police shooting, or there's some type of gang warfare going on. So those countries, persons start shooting from a very young age. They get into competition shooting, they get into clay shooting, they get into hunting, and so firearms are looked at in a completely different light.
Yeah.
So one of the goals of the NFA is to change the stigma of firearms in the country
Right.
and put firearms in a different light. Because the minute someone hears about a gun, they either were traumatized, some sort in either a robbery, or they
Thinking
the
negative.
only thing they have ever heard about a firearm is in the commission of a crime or felony.
I know when I was a little boy growing up, I started my endeavors in Deep Creek surroundings, right? Every household had a gun. And 13, 14-year-old fellas going hunting.
Mm-hmm.
But that's changed.
So, but why that change? That ain't in the family island, that ain't in the Wales and family islands anymore.
But again, it's like the stigma. What he said is it's a stigma of
But
what
that
we
still
have.
isn't in the family islands.
Well, the older generation in the family islands have changed when we relied on hunting, farming, and fishing. It was prevalent.
Now we're using for drug money.
No, it's not. No, that's not really the case. The case is
We got to address the Bahamas as it is now.
Yeah.
We know that a lot of guns on those family islands are used in drug smuggling and drug running.
but I'm talking about the culture now. Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the culture.
That's the culture?
No, the culture changed because
But the culture changed the drug running for young folks.
yeah, but I'm saying the culture changed because we no longer relied on farming, fishing, and hunting. We started importing food from the United States. We started importing food from other countries, and so there was no need to hunt anymore.
You got square groupers now.
Right, right. There was no need to hunt. Right, there was no need to hunt anymore.
They don't want fish.
They don't want to fish. They don't want to farm.
Because of the square groupers. If the square groupers didn't come around, they probably would still been fishing and hunting.
Right.
Mm.
So because the culture changed in the way we fed ourselves and the way the communities now brought in things to survive, the older generation had no need now to pass on hunting because now waking up a 13 or 14-year-old at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to go hunt a wild hog wasn't feasible anymore when I could just get on the phone and order pork chops from NASA on the boat. And so the hunting side of the firearms aspect and passing on from generation to generation went away because of that aspect of the culture.
I agree with you with the exception that with the drug trade,
That played a role.
I mean, we have far more weapons than and more powerful weapons on the family islands than they had in those days. And they get far younger people with access to these weapons. Because instead of going out there to hunt, now they're going out there to do some other stuff. They hunt, but they ain't hunting for no food.
Well, that side of it now is where legislation and upgrades to our law enforcement and our ways of securing our borders comes into play.
Right.
And that's where the maritime industry now has to play a role because we have an open border of a lot of miles of ocean, unsecured docking areas, and many places to land by sea. And so,
So you will be into this now.
yes, so
You open the maritime fellas into this now.
So the
So what
maritime.
we supposed to do now? Okay.
So the maritime aspect now is why we're here on this show to speak about firearms in the maritime arena because maritime loopholes have played a major role in the amount of illegal firearms in the country because the NFA is all about legal firearm use and about law-abiding citizens owning firearms, whether it's in the maritime arena or whether it's in the land-based arena. And so now when you're talking about the powerful weapons that are out there, they come in through the maritime arena.
That's basically where we are. I mean, it's maritime affiliated even if it's where we was.
Right.
So we need to, and we have situations, as you probably know, Brother Stark, you will definitely know, where our fishing industry, with the fishermen going out to sea for a week, 2 weeks, the fishing grounds, sometimes one fishing vessel will put down a condo, a couple condos, and then another vessel come along and start driving the condos. And there were guns being built as a result. Same thing with crawfish traps, fish traps. They put each other stuff. And then there were even situations where I was advised back in the day that some Bahamians used to have weapon interaction with some of the Dominican fishing boats. And I believe it's because the Bahamian fellas used to want to go take the fish. They man, y'all in our waters, we come to take the fish. And eventually the Dominicans start to bring their weapons out. And so that used to be a crossfire because the Dominicans ain't no longer allow the Bahamian fellas to just take the fish. Right? So these are some of the things that when you're talking about a fishing boat, what is there a limitation as to what type of weapon or how many weapons they can carry on a fishing boat with say 30 men going out to sea for 2 weeks? That's a typical scenario with large fishing boats going out to do diving. And they could encounter and engage foreign fishermen.
Well, licensing still plays a role. So if you have persons on board,
Right.
those firearms need to be registered to an individual.
Individually.
To an individual.
Okay.
So if you have 10 firearms on board that craft, those firearms need to have a license holder. Because if the Royal Bahamas Police Force or Defense Force Maritime units stop you, you have to present a license for every firearm, and the license has to match with each firearm that is on board. And the holder of that firearm must be on board on board that vessel as well with that firearm. And that brings us again to what Mr. Gordon was talking about with safety, because our concern with the maritime side of it is you have persons in a small confined space with firearms, i.e. a craft, a vessel, a ship, a boat. So our job and our aim is to push training. Safety, especially when operating a firearm in close proximity to persons, friends, colleagues, and even yourself, because you're in a small room like we are sitting right now, and you have a firearm, your muzzle discipline, your trigger discipline, and the state and status of your weapon you need to know. And so our job is to encourage those fishermen to join the NFA, and if they have not been trained in firearms, be trained, because shooting off a ship is not a stable platform.
Right.
So that's another skill set that you must be trained in.
And we know that one very well in the Defense Force.
Right. And operating and if you have to use that weapon in a maritime setting, you want to know that those persons are trained. So our goal here today on your maritime show is to encourage all of those who are involved in the maritime arena, going on boats, taking your firearm on board boats. You're in a soil-based environment, again. So clearly, it has to be part of the training, because now you want to use that firearm and then it's rusted. You haven't trained it and you haven't used it in a while. You can injure yourself, right?
That's right.
And so again, our aim and our goal is to push training in all aspects, from safety handling to care of your weapon, care of your ammunition, storage amongst your colleagues, especially in a maritime situation.
So let me ask, as far as I'm aware, and I think it's actually the case, you can only get a license as a civilian for hunting, for license of a shotgun. Is there any other reason other than for hunting you can get as a civilian a license for shotgun?
Well, owners of security companies, they get the license for various things. Like myself, my license is as a security specialist.
Right.
You can get it as a bonded courier, and then those who work the armored truck, they get licenses for use on that armored vehicle.
So that would be a little different from the regular license, the guy who works an armored truck. Would his license look different or have anything different on it?
It would be documented when he applies for the license.
Is it the security company that owns the truck, or is the person working on the truck that has to apply for this license?
You can have an individual security license and apply for to use your weapon in commission of your job.
So as an individual, you could get a license,
A security
working
license.
on an armored truck.
Right. You have your own security license, and you may be employed
Right.
on an armored truck, right? And you can your license is attached to your security license. And of course, there are persons in the country that have concealed weapons carry permits. Of course,
Oh, they do have such a thing as
Special.
concealed by
They call it special
Well, special license.
Special license.
Well,
They
special.
do have- That's what I was asking earlier. So
Yeah.
they do have a way
That's
to-
the one it was. They do have a special license.
Yeah, they have a special license. You can apply for a
What
special
would be an
license.
example of somebody who they would actually issue that to?
Yeah, a lot of people have it.
Some judges, they have
Judges,
it.
businessmen,
Businessmen,
judges, businessmen,
high profile,
high risk
individuals, high risk jobs, correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some persons who deals like some
Senior
business
law
owners who
enforcement.
deal with a lot of cash all the time doing deposits and stuff. They can apply a special license.
So they may get granted a-
They may exactly use the
Right.
perfect word. May get granted.
May.
It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed.
And of course, if you're issued a concealed weapon, obviously you're not hunting.
Correct.
No, well, you're not.
Right.
armed,
So
but-
you ask, so there answers your question when you ask is if there are reasons
This
of
would
weapon
be-
can
yeah,
be.
that would be one, and the armored vehicle would be one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and there goes another reason for training, because that's another level of training.
That's correct.
So let's say if, we have courses that teaches certifications like in shotguns and stuff. Our shotgun course specifically focuses on shooting for sports, shooting for hunting.
Right.
All right, so you got certified in that stuff, so you understand, for example, if you want to get into skeet and clay shooting, how that's done. If you want to get into hunting game, how that's done. Of course, if someone now comes to us with a pistol license,
Right.
that'll be a completely different type of training. If a security comes to us, wants to do training based on a job function, that is a different set of training, because now we'll be looking at more and more of a tactical training based on job function.
So it's job specific or
Yeah.
Yes.
purpose specific.
Purpose specific
Training. That is
That's
correct.
correct. Okay.
That's
So
correct. And we also have tactical shotgun training for civilians as well.
what do you mean by tactical shotgun training?
Tactical
That's what I'm
shotgun.
making sense. Shotgun training. When you say tactical now, that
Yes.
sounds like something
Well,
different from
let's,
regular.
let's simplify it.
Yes.
You have entry or an introduction course,
Right.
then you have an advanced course.
Right.
Which one of them is tactical?
Let's just say advanced.
The advanced one is
So tactical is you going a little further than
A little
normal.
further than
yeah,
normal,
the
right?
normal, right.
And what type of weapons, shotguns, are you allowed to bring in for hunting in the Bahamas? Is there a limit or restriction?
Well, let's back up a bit and let's use the word firearm,
Mm.
especially when we're dealing with civilians. We don't want to tie in the word weapon and civilians.
No?
No.
No.
So what would be referred to as a
Firearms.
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 Okay. Is there a restriction on the type firearm license or the license that a civilian would obtain for hunting? What type of bullets it carry? Well, you got 7.62, you got scatter bullets.
Well, no. Well, a
Rifle is not included in firearm.
Yes.
Yeah. You want the caliber?
Persons can apply right now. Persons can apply for shotgun and rifle, and would most likely get approved. However, rifles, the highest caliber would be a .223 that you can apply for with a rifle.
No, higher. 308.
308. Yes.
308.
Yes. Some person can apply for 308 specifically for hunting.
So
Of
308
course.
is what? That's the diameter of
Yeah.
so what is a 308?
To make it simple, it's like the civilian version of the SLR. Of
So basically
7.62.
7.62 rounds.
Yeah, but it's a civilian
It's-
version.
it's-
It's
yeah,
smaller.
it's-
It's a smaller round,
Yeah.
but it's close.
It's
So
a
a big game.
308. No. 308. Yeah.
It's for big game. It's for big game hunting
At long range.
at long range.
Yeah, that's what a 308. 308 is specifically a long range firearm.
Yeah, it's for big
Long
game.
range round. It's
So
a big game.
it wouldn't be able to penetrate the bulletproof vest.
Any-
Sweat.
The fact is, most. That's a trick question. Simply
No,
because.
I think
no,
that's most-
let me explain why. Because
Rifles would do that, yeah.
yeah, but the round itself.
Right.
A lot of stuff plays a factor when it comes to shooting the bulletproof vest. Bulletproof vest comes in a lot of different types also.
Right.
All right. So it all depends on the vest. All depends on how close, how far I am from you. I can if I'm in 5 to 10 feet close range, depends on the round, I could penetrate that vest, or I could hit you hard enough in that vest that it could stop your heart.
Right.
Right?
Total damage.
But yeah, you do have some rounds, rifle rounds that are plated, that are heavier than standard brass rounds.
Right.
The weight of the round itself is what makes it armor piercing.
Yeah,
The coating of the actual.
Illegal, though, if they could penetrate the vessel.
They are very, very much illegal. They're
Very much
illegal.
illegal?
Illegal.
Yeah.
Illegal everywhere in the world, actually.
Oh, wow.
Armor piercings are illegal everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere you go.
So, you know, you keep
Except
saying
the-
with
except the
AK-47s,
Yeah.
AK-47s and the type rounds they carry.
Mhm.
So they wouldn't be able to find bullets for them locally.
Well,
7.62 is not an easy round to find.
Right.
It's very expensive also.
right,
No,
it's a
7.62 is
legal
not-
round. It's a military round.
Yeah, it's a military
Okay.
nail round. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not an easy round to find.
Okay.
And while there's a lot of firearms, high-power firearms around that look like AK-47, not all of them are AK-47. We do have some, but not all of them are AK-47. We have some MO1s, some MO8s that looks like that
Right.
carry a smaller round.
Mhm.
Some are even able to fire 223s.
Okay, so there's no point to kind of punch that.
Right.
Okay. Well, let's go. So what I want to do now is open up the line so that we can get some of our listeners to call in with any question they may have, because I got a whole long list here. And producer, can we open up the lines, see if anybody wanna hear us? Yeah. So. Well, and answer some of my questions. I don't even know what to ask one now.
Yeah, well, one of the things I want to continue to push is for legislation,
Right.
for training, because if you look at a driver's license, you aren't given permission to drive a car unless you have a license. On a firearm in the
No,
house,
just
you
that.
want to-
Remember now, to get a license, you got to do a test, and
A
you got to
test,
pass the
right.
test before you get a license.
Right.
Same
So
way.
Just like you have to go through all of those hoops
Right.
to get a driver's license.
Or any other license.
And any other license in the
Yeah.
country,
Yeah.
the same should hold for a fire.
For fire.
Especially for something
Especially
like
for
that.
fire.
Yeah.
Especially.
We got a call on the line. Line 1, you're on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Good evening, Captain Blaine. How are you, sir?
I'm in top shape, Captain Brain. And how are you?
I'm great, and good evening to your guests. I have a question for the guests, and I think that this question kind of dovetails from I don't know if you remember, Telus would have called a few weeks ago asking about security details which as relates to Bahamian flag ships.
Yes, and you're jumping.
And I'm just thinking and I'm wondering whether or not the training that this group offer, whether or not there is an opportunity from a business perspective to put together a coalition of, say, trained professionals to be able to tap into the maritime-related segment, particularly as it relates to piracy and providing that type of expertise on board ships, or that's too far-fetched to be considered at this time?
Well, before I even put that question to them, thank you very much, Captain Brain, for that good question, because that's on my list. So let me just, before I put that to them, expand a bit on what you're asking. I'll just hang up, and if you want to call back, you can.
Yeah, okay. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you. Yeah, in our previous show, my good friend Dennis, he called in and he asked about Bahamians getting opportunities to work on board these ships in security, as far as providing security service, like ex-policemen and ex-defense force personnel and that type of thing, because we have some entities worldwide that provide such service in places like the Gulf of Aden or Somalia, where they have a lot of piracy going on, and in the Malacca Straits, where they have another, well, in the past, they have a lot of piracy, and even in the Niger Delta, just off Nigeria, where they're still having a lot of disruption to shipping, because pirates and whatnot are taking over. So, could we, in the Bahamas, say, train up a corps of people, or even if only one person with such background, military background and all the rest of that, to provide these people to Bahamian ships that are venturing into those areas. Your training would it be able to take it to that level?
Yes, because we have already done it.
We've sent Bahamians that
We have
are
already
trained
done
here.
it, but privately. Persons come into the jurisdiction and they want to circumvent the area.
Right.
They request security on board their crafts.
So we put marksmen. Yeah, marksmen, you're right. I mean, I don't know, the military training, we had plenty in defense force. Right, Green Beret?
No,
He was almost a Green Beret.
you almost. But if you're a marksman, you're looking at one to my right. The guy to
That's a
my right.
marksman?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you're looking for an assistant marksman, then you can
You're
call me.
ready for that?
I'm ready for that.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me hear marksman go.
Okay.
Well, let me say this. What you're speaking about is kind of our third phase of what we're looking at.
Right.
Our first phase is just establishing ourselves as a training organization, being able to provide training for, like we said, both civilians and law enforcement. We actually just launched our instructor program. We have 3 persons in the instructor program who we would like to bring up and really train as qualified NFA instructors, whereas we can be able to send persons to the different islands and really encompass our training throughout the entire Bahamas. Our third phase is exactly what you mentioned, of being able to we already have the courses already available.
Right.
We just haven't really launched the program yet, where we actually can train up armed persons who can effectively, use different firearms. It all depends whether it's a pistol, rifle, shotgun, or whatever firearms needed, to be able to address any type of job or situation, whether it's inland, whether it's on the sea, or whether it's someone's just looking for a personal close protection bodyguard, any situation. So the answer is yes. We can train up a group, or we can train up, and it's something that we're working on also with another director of ours, Gamal Nuri, Preventive Measures. We're working on putting together and working with government to try to get the relevant, more or less for them to support and sign off on specialized private security that can be armed and get the necessary licenses for them to be able to arm and carry firearms. So yeah, the organization is really focusing on a lot of these issues that, like the gentleman called, that will definitely help a lot of the issues in the island. Right now, there's like you mentioned, there are a lot of people that come to the country, come throughout the Bahamas, and they literally they spend thousands and thousands of dollars bringing their own private security from all around the world, when persons are right here on the island in the Bahamas who can do the same job, right? So all the stuff that we're trying to address,
So by
keep the money
logging
here in the
on to
Bahamas.
your association,
Right.
They would know that the expertise is also here.
Yes, and we can work together. That's the whole point of the NFA, is working together with different organizations, different industries, coming together to work together to, like Virgil mentioned, it's all about getting to the government, changing some legislation, being able to get the permissions we need, to be able to get the licenses we need to be able to carry these stuff. For once we can get it, once the persons, for example, if we bring on 10 persons, I'm saying we want to train them up. The challenge with that is, what are they going to carry? What are they going to train with?
Well, the
That
thing
actually becomes the problem. Is the commission, is the Royal Bahamas Police going to give them permission to say, okay, fine, you guys spend the last 4 months training, we can give you guys licenses for X, Y, Z. Is that going to happen? So this is some of the challenges we have going forward, and just trying to fight and trying to really push and show that these are industries that could bring bread and butter to a lot of persons here. We can keep all this millions of dollars a year here in the Bahamas.
And to piggyback on what Mr. Gordon has said, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, maritime security. Because you went far, you went all the way to the Gulf of Aden, but right around the Caribbean, Venezuela, Colombia, and places like that, Haiti, they also have major issues with piracy.
They
Right.
used to.
No, they still do. They still do.
Okay, that's when we started the suppression of unlawful
Right.
convention under the United Nations.
Right.
Is there any convention that that deals, like under the United Nations or any of their ambits, that deals with weapon handling that you all will be aware of?
No, we're not aware of. Every jurisdiction, because we are a sovereign nation, is allowed to deal with their own matters as it relates to weapons handling. And like Mr. Gordon said, We train our people all the time.
Right.
But the issue is now, do they have the tools to work with? Because if a client calls and says, I need a team of 15,
Right.
do they have the weapons?
But I mean, if you're training people when they're going to be licensed, wouldn't they have their own firearm already?
Yeah, but the issue is there isn't any legislation for armed security other than the government agencies to carry concealed weapons. You carry a handgun. So even though you train,
You're talking about
for the maritime security.
Yeah,
No,
maritime, yeah.
I'm talking about for the maritime security. Yeah, for maritime
Yeah,
security.
so on a port facility or on a ship, but why would they want a handgun instead of a shotgun or a rifle or?
Because you don't want to be walking around a facility. Certain weapons are called for certain things. That's like a doctor using a butcher knife to do a scalpel job.
Oh, walk around with a sword all the time.
For
Right.
example, they have certain personnel at Prince George Wharf who are the defense force.
Right.
And they don't use concealed weapons for the most part. I mean, they have
It's called-
the SMG and SLR and everything.
But he's talking about the maritime industry. If I'm on somebody's $100 million yacht,
Right.
I'm going
Why
to
can't you carry a shotgun on that yacht? Wouldn't that be more effective than carrying a handgun?
No, yes and no.
Yes and no.
Two reasons. One, the owner of that vessel would not want someone walking around with a gun.
Yeah,
It makes
yes.
it look like they some
You're
kind of
not
drug
gonna
dealer or
walk
something.
around with a gun.
Well,
The gun will be there, particularly while the vessel is, the yacht is at sea.
that's
If you
not
train
efficient.
somebody
That's
on
not
a-
efficient.
Somebody will approach
That's
the
not efficient because if something happens, I now have to go run away where a gun is.
Right.
That's not efficient.
Not efficient at all.
The handgun against a skiff is not ideal either.
Training.
Training. That's why if you train with us, you will understand the concept of what we're saying.
Okay.
See, because I provided security on board yachts, and you must also realize that there's a client. The client has guests.
So it's not like us on defense force.
Right.
When we pulling up against a boat,
That you
That's
you're
different.
thinking, you're thinking wrong.
Right.
And that's why.
Plus we can have our own
That's defense force.
That's
Right.
defense force. That's why I said
Private sector is
that's what I'm saying.
different.
Private sector is different. You're thinking military, you're thinking law enforcement. But when it comes to private security, you must remember now you have a paying client, and that paying client wants a particular type of service.
Well,
So you're not going to go in there like a
well,
militia.
you can't.
Yeah.
You have to bear in mind that the client may not want that type of exposure. Just like
Right.
we don't
And
want
so-
a police state.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to provide the client with certain type of products,
Right.
you must have the ability to change up the product when he demands it.
I agree.
You
We
understand?
got a call on the line. Let's see. Our caller may tell us how we can deal with this thing without having to change up too much with the customer wants. Caller, you're on line one. Hello.
Yes, Captain Brown, I have to call back in because I will not be able to get mixed up on how this thing's supposed to go. Right?
Go right ahead, Captain. Well, let the other fellows know that you're also a military man with plenty weapons training.
Thank you very much.
Go right ahead, sir.
Yes, 30 years to be exact.
Very Cornwall.
Yeah, but Mr. Gordon and his team is absolutely correct. When it comes to security on board ships or yachts or whatever, there's different weapons for different applications. And certainly when you have a jet, when you have a super yacht or that require that type of protection, they don't want their guests to see no weapon, period. Some of them. Some, at the vast majority of them, I would say. And I've been exposed to a lot of guests who want security. And yes, the biggest problem is the fact that in the Bahamas, I don't think we are progressive enough because this whole business of concealed weapon and security, having weapons and the like, this is something that we should have dealt with years ago, eons ago. Because most of the Bahamians who are soon to be qualified, and I know a lot of them who are, I know who have worked in either the military or worked at the embassy or worked at other places around the world. Their biggest impediment in getting most of these jobs is the fact that they don't have no weapons. And so they can't access those jobs. So I think we really and truly behind the 8 ball. And it's just a matter of the Ministry of National Security recognizing the fact that these persons, whatever training program that they approve, that these persons are suitably trained, and even down to the security guards who are forced who manage large amounts of cash on a daily basis and who protect stores and the like, they need to have the appropriate weapons. Yes, on board ships you may have a need to have other types of weapons for assault or whatever the case may be, but certainly the handgun and the concealed weapon is you got to have it. And I think Gordon, you and your team need to petition the national security. We need to fix this. This is something that was in the making for years, and we are probably the only country around that have not moved past this whole nonsense about concealed weapon and handgun and whatnot. Because certainly the crooks who you're going to encounter in any environment, whether it's on the sea or whether it's on land, they're going to have their concealed weapons. So I'll hang up right now and I'll give you a chance to respond. But certainly this is an issue that needs to be addressed and should have been addressed a long time ago.
Well put, Captain Brain. I couldn't say it any better myself. Let me just hang up from you and we'll respond to your. Listen, you like it?
I can need him to join it.
Yeah, well,
We can need him to join tonight. So please go to the website right now.
But a Thurston Storm knows him just almost as good as
Awesome.
But
We can need him on
I
our
can
team.
tell you that he is on the board. And guess what? You already said earlier that you met with the Minister of National Security, that you met with the Attorney General.
Yep.
Have you met with the Commissioner of Police yet?
Not yet.
That's the one about the ballot. So now you need to meet with the Commissioner of Police and his team. Because at the end of the day, the only reason why we probably lagging so far behind is because we don't have an organization like yours.
I would say this. I think many persons in the government, in the policy-making areas, they would know individuals that work outside this jurisdiction that are Bahamians, that have concealed carry, that work in the maritime industry, that work in the close protection industry, have concealed weapons in other jurisdictions in this world.
So
But
isn't
but
that a shame, eh?
they come home
And they can't do it.
They come home and they can't do it. I have a friend who came here the other day. He has a concealed carry. When he came over with his client, they didn't allow him to bring his weapon.
Yeah.
He's a Bahamian. But he can, once he leaves this jurisdiction, he can go just about anywhere in the world with a concealed weapon.
Yeah, maybe that's because those other jurisdictions have gotten their associations to the level where there's confidence in that security association enough for them to actually do things to cause the country to now want to issue licenses and weapons to people at that level.
And
so,
that's
so
it goes back.
we starting like Captain Commander Brain was saying earlier, we starting, and they should have started a long time ago,
Yeah.
in 2016,
Yeah.
but of course you're just really getting around to doing some things that you really would like to do. But we need to keep going. I mean, 5
Yeah,
years,
well-
10 years down the road, we may very well be in a position to
I agree. I agree with
give
you.
those
Well,
licenses.
a few things, and I thank him so much for touching on all that, and he's absolutely right. And like I said, we since we have started our campaign and trying to push this forward, we have met so many passionate people just like him. I'm talking police officers, retired and active duty, both police and Marines, who are very, passionate just like him. We are talking doctors, lawyers, law-abiding people. I'm not talking, we're talking about law-abiding citizens who, like we mentioned, purpose persons who've had their firearms for years. We've had even persons in some of the offices that we've been to with the Attorney General and National Security. They was like, they applaud us just walking in the door, coming to speak to them, the ministers. Now I can say this: both ministers that we spoke to has definitely left the door open, saying that they definitely they love the concept. They don't know why it would take someone so long to come up with the whole idea. They left the door open. They give us roadmaps on how to do it properly. They have no issues with anything we're doing. They said, you guys are doing a great thing. Just do it right. Get the people behind you, stuff like that. So our goal, like we said, our main goal is to get our membership. If we have the people to support what we're doing, there's no limit to what we can do.
What's your membership right now?
Our membership, again, we just got started. Our membership right now, membership is around about 200, 218, around that.
And what membership we looking at?
Well, again, we have 40,000 plus.
You have 40,000 plus weapon license.
Licensed person. So the more persons you can get, and again, you don't have to own a firearm to be a member, to support. You don't have to. But so, if let's say for some reason that some people just haven't gotten around to put in for a license yet. Some people just, they prefer to support without, actually getting a firearm. That's fine. You might have a wife or mother who husband have a firearm, but she support it, because she's probably go over him shooting or whatever.
Right.
So these persons can jump on board and join and be a part of the organizations. At the end of the day, once we have those numbers behind us,
Right.
there's nothing that the government they can't tell us no to anything that we might want to do. All right, and just to double back to something that Virgil was talking about, he mentioned about the conventions. ITAR, I don't know if you're familiar with ITAR, the International Trafficking of Arms. ITAR basically speaks to the fact that every country is responsible for its own firearms training.
Right.
Right, it's firearms training, firearms laws, and all that. The Bahamas is the only such country. Let me use the word established country, because we're not like a third world country like everybody would think. Yeah, we're the only established country in the convention right now that does not have established training or regulations for firearms
Wow. So
to date.
So if you get, say, you're looking at 10,000 or more to say B.
We want to
We
We want everybody.
No, you want that. But I'm talking as far as how much you would probably need just to get to that next level, where you could actually petition the Commissioner of Police, petition.
10 to
Let's say
15,000. Let's say 15,000.
Yeah, that's, I think you should do
And
that.
the membership. And regardless of the numbers, we're going to continue pushing forward.
Well, let's show 10,000 at you, so you
Let's
got
do it.
responsibility. We got
Let's
a
do
call
it.
on the line. Let's see this caller. I'm calling you live on Maritime Matters. Hello.
Pleasant good evening to all.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. This is Kamal Neri, also from the National Fire.
Director.
How you doing, Mr. Dear?
I'm in top shape, my brother. How are you? So nice of you to call in and we should party around this table, but go right ahead.
Yes, and I just also wanted to make sure I call in and again lend support to our good president there, Mr. Gordon, and one of our directors, Mr. Virgil.
You got a female in the room too now. You can't just stop me. You got a female in the room too, and she can shoot.
Oh, VB.
Got the vice president in the room.
Secretary, I tell you.
The vice president.
That's the vice president. VB. Right.
So we're well covered.
Yeah, we're well covered. We're well covered.
I just wanted to learn again to the point where, the aliens, we like to talk. We like to talk about what's wrong, what's not right. But we need to put our name on that dotted line and stand as a united front. The association, like has been very well articulated over the last few moments, is exactly that vehicle to get these things done. We have civilians who have access to firearms, and they have not been trained. They get a license with no validation, no qualification, no criteria, but we're going to give you a shotgun to go hunting. So it makes absolutely no sense. We have former law enforcement, former military like you and myself, who, when we are working for, today we are CAC certified to carry any weapon, any firearm, but tomorrow if we retire or we decide to go into the private sector, all of a sudden we have lost all of those skill sets.
Yeah.
So this association is the vehicle to drive the change that is needed in this country so that private individuals, civilians can have the right type of access and have the right type of training to do it. If you want a firearm to go hunting, then that's more power to you, but you should know how to use it. You should know how to safely store that around your children or someone who has some mental disability, or you should know how to safely secure that firearm. If you're a private individual, security was offering security services, you should know what the rules of engagement of how to safely secure and use that firearm when your job requires it. Right now, it's willy-nilly. It's out there wide in the open. So I'm hearing, we need to get it done, but I encourage the Bahamians who are the sound of my voice who are listening, they need to get up and sign up with the association so we can make this happen because they'll strengthen numbers. They'll strengthen numbers.
the good thing is we now have the website up and going, people, and we're going to repeat that again with the website is that they can go to. Because I'm sure a lot of people, I know I had some of my family members come to me and say, man, I need to get a gun, but I don't know. And I was trying to advise them not to get it because I didn't know they had some place where they could go and learn, can use it properly, and all the rest of that good stuff. So you're absolutely spot on.
Exactly.
So thank you very much for gracing us with your presence and call. And we'll go ahead and talk some more about what you just brought up, particularly the part about security companies. And I want to say, let me just hang up and keep going, my brother. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, brother director.
Thank you.
All right.
So I own a security company,
Mm-hmm.
but we do maritime security. We really do stuff where we documenting things and access control and patrolling and this and that. So we don't expect that we're in any high risk situation, right? But you go to the U.S. and the same security being done at port facilities, these guys are carrying weapons.
I totally disagree with you, sir, when you say you're not in a threat situation. You are.
Well,
The main reason that you have security shows that there's a threat. Say this, and this makes more sense. You haven't been attacked yet.
Well,
You haven't been breached yet.
I'll take it a step further because
But every location that has security
yeah.
is a threat, has a threat level. Because there's no need to have security if there's not a threat level. We don't put locks on our doors if there's nobody going to break in. That's why when you go to Cat Island, you can leave your door open. because there's no threat. But in Nassau, you have burglar bars. The main fact that you put burglar bars on your house means that there's a threat. You may know how to break it in 30 years. That doesn't mean that you're not in a high-risk situation. So I disagree with the premise that you say, and this is the first time we disagree on the show for the night. Right?
You get me there, right?
Yeah. The first time we disagree on the show for the
The
night.
context of what I was saying, I'm comparing what we do compared to what other security that are faced with high risk.
Oh, that's more like it.
Right? So I'm saying that because we're only doing that type of security, right, I don't see the pointness of carrying a firearm compared with some other security duties that I am aware of.
Well, in the military, we always say it's best what? To have it and not need it, than to need it and not have it.
I agree with you.
That's fact.
I agree with
And
you.
that is a fact.
Now let me take it a step further. In maritime, period, we have over 50,000 international ships registered to trade worldwide.
Right.
They're not allowed to carry weapons.
That is correct.
The port facilities where they go to trade, in many cases, are high volatile areas. And somebody carrying a weapon around, there could be more danger to that facility than somebody else. So when I said that was loaded with a lot of other things that you wasn't bearing in mind. Right?
I
About carrying a weapon on a facility.
I understand because
So what I'm saying is when I said the type of security we do, that's what I was referring to too. Right? But of course you wouldn't be thinking in that line because you really not a maritime security type person.
No, because I have an experience going on a cruise ship with a client. But because the cruise ship was a U.S.-based cruise line, and the client was of stature, they called the embassy of that country, and they allowed us. The cruise ship was docked here in the Bahamas.
Okay.
But our client was not prepared to go on board without their security detail.
Okay. So the client was going on the cruise ship.
On the cruise ship,
but not to cruise.
not to cruise. They're going for basically a night.
Okay.
A full night, and they're going to spend some hours, and then they're going to enjoy the captain's dinner, because you know the captain's room dinner,
Captain's table.
the captain's table, and they were going to be seated at the captain's table, but they were not prepared to go without the security detail.
So
Right.
what happened in that case?
So in that case, we have to basically get diplomatic clearance
Right.
to go on board that cruise ship, because like you said, weapons are not allowed on cruise ships.
Well, particularly tankers and
Particularly tankers
The
and
whole ship will
Right.
Yeah.
They're done. But so we were given special permission for an 8-hour clearance on board that cruise ship with our concealed weapons.
Great. Now that you're talking cruise ships, you know the Bahamas worldwide, we have more cruise ships under the Bahamas flag than any other country with cruise ships.
Right.
We're number 7 or 8 with all the ships. But the ships, we're number 1 in the world. And not only that, the port of Nassau is the 3rd largest visiting port as far as numbers of ships. Single port.
Right.
In the world after only Miami and Port Everglades. So we see more cruise ships than any other port in the world, except those two, right? And you would probably be aware that on a given day, we can have 20 to 30,000 passengers coming off cruise ships at Prince George, well, maybe not coming off, but on the ships.
It makes us a target.
Right? Which makes us a target. And I think that's part of the reasons why they wanted the Defense Force to be doing security at Prince George Wharf instead of a private security company. They eventually mixed it, but Defense Force is still present with weapons, with a patrol boat, and all the rest of that. Right? So, a cruise ship, under the International Maritime Organization, we have something called the ISPS code, International Ship and Port Facility Security Code, right? Now, this code addresses basically 3 levels of security for ships. And any port facility where any one of those ships trade needs to exercise the same 3 levels of security. Level 1, obviously, a regular working operational level where you need to have a lot of things in place now. You have to have fencing, lighting, you have to have a buffer zone, you have to have patrols going on, you have to access control, you have to have restricted areas, all the rest of that stuff.
Vehicle access.
With that port facility, that international ships got to come. And that's my specialty. That's why I know it so well, right? And in addition to that, once that ship is there, the port facility and the ship technically should be operating like almost equally as far as security is concerned. Because the facility is supposed to actually protect the ship. The ship moves from country to country. The facility doesn't move. So really and truly, that is only a requirement. And that's the first time the International Maritime Organization spit out any regulations that apply within the jurisdiction of a country. Right? Is ISPS. So ISPS require cruise ships to be protected, first of all, more so than the cargo ships. For obvious reason. They carry passengers. Right? And in protecting, one of the things, they talk about 3 entities. They talk about a ship blocking the channel of a major thoroughfare. I don't know if you all remember the Ever Given. That was the big container ship that got blocked the Suez Canal for a couple of days, and there are thousands of ships piled up on both sides. You know, the Suez Canal is an artery going between the Gulf, where all the oil is, and the Mediterranean Sea, where they come into Europe and all the rest of that. So that was not a deliberate blockage.
Accidental.
But they say a ship could deliberately sink itself, clog up on many places, including Nassau. Right? Because if a cargo ship was to be attacked and the terrorists on board actually open up all the valves, the sea valves, so that the ship floods and sinks right there in the front of that mouth, the harbor entrance, the 2 breakwaters. That is going to stop any cruise ship, any other ship from getting in. And it's going to take a long time for them to move it because they got to mobilize something that can actually lift that big ship out of the way, right? And don't let the terrorists have special equipment to put holes in it, because it's even worse. So when they talk about cruise ships, though, they say that you can get, for example, you know when cruise ships go, they're taken out by pilots. We got local Bahamians who go on board, I'm the pilots, I can tell you, local Bahamians who go on board that cruise ship and actually takes it out. And sometimes you're talking midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, so how the pilot get back ashore? The pilot boat brings him ashore. Where does that pilot boat come from before it goes to that cruise ship? Sometimes they be in Bayshore Marina. Is there any protection from terrorists getting on board that pilot boat?
Screening.
There's no protection. Because the terrorists could go to that pilot boat knowing that it was speak. They ain't going to do much to make the find where the pilot boat to speak. Right? When the pilot boat crocks in and crew come on board, they see a bunch of weapons in their face. They ain't got no choice but to go to the cruise ship. And when they open that cruise ship door for the pilot to hop from the cruise ship in the pilot boat, they marches in with all these weapons. The cruise ships can't carry one gun. So now these terrorists start killing up whoever they want. And by the time the authorities say, their man getting killed at the end of the day, they only want to do what they have to do. Right? So the reality is, the requirement, and I shouldn't talk to people business too much, right? The requirement is that wherever there was either a tugboat or a pilot boat is located when they're not on duty, they're supposed to have protection. So that Bayshore Marina technically should have protection. But I know what the pilots did in the past, especially when right after 9/11. What they did was they made a passcode. They had a password that the pilot boat captain would say to the pilot once he's on the way to the ship, so that everybody would know
It's all
everything
okay.
cool.
Right.
Right?
And it goes right back to what Captain Breen said. He called earlier, right?
Yes.
He said it's time for us as a nation to address these things. You should be a consultant advising the government on these very things that are falling short within the system. Because and that's what the NFA is doing. We're here to advise the government and also be a lobbying arm to show them some of the shortcomings with the firearms act, with the firearms issuing, with the firearms training, and likewise yourself with the port facility all tying together. Because if terrorists come, what they're going to come with? They're going to be using what? Weapons.
They're going to be using plenty of weapons.
Right.
And
So training, like Mr. Gordon said, is not just only weapons based.
no,
It's not just only weapons based.
intelligence.
It's intelligence.
It's proactive
It's
measures.
proactive measures, security measures.
It's all
Right.
written
And
policies
the
and
ISPS
procedures,
code
yeah.
call for these procedures.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, I am a recognized security organization for that purpose.
Right.
So I do advise the government. I do advise the
So how come we still have these loopholes?
who listens?
Likewise, that's probably on your show saying the same
Listen,
thing.
bad amount of drink.
Saying the
I
same
can
thing.
say, I can say
We hope they're listening tonight, though.
Now I can say to you in the same breath though,
Right.
that this country in the past, say 3-4 years,
Mhm.
have come so far, I mean positively with maritime security, that the Bahamas is now being looked at as the model in the Caribbean for ISPS measures and procedures being on point, being carried out, and on a timely basis. And I'm not saying that because I sing it for myself. I'm saying that because I lived this thing for the past 18 years.
I would say this,
And I
one of my
watched
friends
it
says this.
France.
He who does not toot his own horn, his horn shall not be tooted. So toot your horn, my friend.
Thank you, Brother Wilson. Okay, so we got situations at Prince George Wharf where you have thousands of people coming on and off ship. We got situations at Fish Fry where we get taxis piled up, tourists coming in and out. Atlantis hotel resort. We got Bahamas resort. Where volumes of people be moving through the casino. Now, what happens when you have an active shooter in one of these areas?
Call Mr. Gordon and myself.
Well, I need you, Mr. Gordon, to tell me what is the person in that area to do if there is an active shooter and they see it in progress. What are they to do?
Well, before we get
Because
to that,
they can call you, but call you ain't help them. They don't know what to do on site.
before we get into that, there is an agency in the country
Mm-hmm.
that myself and Mr. Gordon are about to train very, very shortly in the same thing, active shooter incident.
Right.
And they're very happy to have us come in
Mhm.
and do it. And I think that facility in the country is going to be a model.
Yeah, but
Once
why
they
not
get
my
the
listeners
training.
go to the mall tomorrow to shop
Right.
and somebody buys a
hopefully-
firearm? I need you to tell them now what they need to do tomorrow.
But what I'm saying, but hopefully, the policymakers will look at this entity once they would have gotten this training and see the need, like you say, to implement it in areas like the port.
Okay, we got a call on the line. Go ahead. We'll get call ready for that.
Okay, so let me just say that we do have something called the RAVE certification, right?
Right.
The RAVE certification is exactly that, the active shooter, active violence certification that we have. The
We're talking
NFA
about general
offers.
public now. We
No, we don't-
don't do training.
No, we're
We
talking
talking
about.
about the thousands of
We are-
people. We talking about the cruise ship.
This is for active shooter type
They're
scenario.
not going to do no training. I
Again,
need to know what they're supposed to do if they're not
basic, yeah, we have a basic 3-step
Right.
approach to active shooter, which pretty much even up to federal level that they teach, which is simply evade, shelter, take action. All right.
Right.
First thing you do, if you hear someone shooting or whatever, you identify the direction of the shots and you go the opposite direction.
You run from it.
Right? Now, if you're in close proximity, let's say you're walking down, you there's a person in front of you or in the same shot is shooting, you shelter yourself.
Right.
You don't try to run because they're looking for targets. So if you're running across someone who's shooting, they're looking to shoot you.
Right.
So you take shelter.
Right.
And the very last line of fence would be a situation if someone's trying to get in this door right now on a 4
Time
here.
out.
Our
Yeah.
goal is to take action, put a plan together, and everyone attack. one person might get killed, but we stand a better chance of taking action than just sitting here and be sitting
I
nuts.
believe if every one of us take off our shoes and start throwing
Something can work.
One no regular, like you say, but something like
And not only the men, but the women as well.
Yes.
that.
So those three steps, and again, persons who can sign up for the courses we're going to be doing all across the country, they can sign up for it. But simple 3 steps: evade, shelter yourself, take action.
And we get to the door before you.
President Gordon, that was so good. You even get your vice president chiming in on this. That's what I like about this.
Because we
all of a sudden she chiming in.
Yeah, because
even though I asked her no
what we
permission.
need everybody to understand is we done thought about all this stuff. We ready, and we done thought about all this.
We have
Every
all
scenario we done
Let's see
thought
what I
about.
call out and say about that. Calling you on Maritime Matters Live. Hello.
Now you guys were forcing me to do it.
Go ahead, Captain Green.
Yeah, I just wanna, I promise I won't, take up too much of your time this is the last time, right? But, when it comes to, I think there's opportunity in this whole, in the maritime sector, particularly as relates to maritime security, Glenn, because when we think about it, when we move from level 1 to level 2, if there is an attack on a facility, really and truly, apart from, say, Prince George Wharf, and I know Freeport Harbor will have no security guards there. Apart from Prince George Wharf, there's nothing the security at Prince George at those 12 facilities are helpless, really and truly, against an attack. They cannot protect the ship, even though you signed the Declaration of Security that you're going to do this, you're going to do that thing. You can't even restrict access to the ship if someone put a gun to the security outside and say, look at us. Take me to the ship's gangway. So I think there's opportunity for this association and the drive, along with, say, what you do, Glenn, in terms of maritime security, for us to move this thing a little bit further towards some realization in that. If we petition the government and say, hey, let's start with the facilities. We have international ships that interface with our facilities on a day-to-day basis. If there's an event, a security-related event at the facilities, without having weapons, we really powerless against any attacker. It don't have to be an international terrorist group. It could be someone who just wants to hijack the ship or who wants to become a stowaway or whatever the case may be. Put a gun on the local guard at the access control point, and that will name over. So I think there's opportunity here, and I think there's a real conversation to be had. And I think any reasonable thinking person would agree that if we move from level 1 to level 2 or to level 3, if we can improve our security condition, our security posture at each level, then we jive and we joking. So having armed security guards that say all to our facilities, so particularly when we have to move to higher security levels, will be an excellent way to introduce this whole business of all the concealed work, all the concealed cover, and all the specialized training and all that. And it'll be in an environment that basically when you look at the juxtaposition between what we have in the Bahamas compared to elsewhere, will be kind of comparable. So that's my point, and I think there's opportunity here and ground to be gained if we do it properly.
I agree with you 1,000 times, my friend. I'll hang up on. I'll let you hang up and get a response from the team here. Thank you very much.
Okay, I agree with him 100% because right now we have a one-tier system. What I mean by that is we rely on the defense force and the police. And I will show you why it's not a very good idea and it's not a good national security concept.
Right.
During Hurricane Dorian,
Yeah, the big one.
the big one, all defense force Marines, all police, leaves were stopped.
Yeah.
They didn't have the manpower.
Right.
There was a key in the Bahamas, I won't call the name of the key, very wealthy people.
Yeah.
The homes were being broken into by what? Persons coming by on jet skis and small boats because the power on the key was gone.
Yeah.
They had no police to send, no defense force to send. What happened? They had to call on private security. My team, in turn, was flew in there on choppers to handle that situation.
With weapons?
With weapons.
Your team carry weapons?
Oh, yes, we do.
Well, how much in your team? Huh? How much in this team you got was carrying weapons?
Right. What I'm saying, this is why Breen is correct.
He's absolutely
You're
correct.
correct. You're relying on one or two agencies
Right. To respond.
to respond.
Uh-huh.
When you have ex-Marines,
Who can
ex-police
readily
officers,
respond.
ex-prison officers, ex-custom officers,
As part of these security
part
companies.
of these security companies,
That's right.
and persons who have lived in that jurisdiction, who have other security training
And experience.
and experience that you can bring in and give them the tools to operate.
Yeah.
And so I think it's far time that we, as leaders in this country, take this one-track thinking out of the concept and start using the skill set. They've spent thousands of dollars on me to train me. And then you're going to come behind and tell me that I'm not qualified to operate?
We got to run to our second break. Right. This one. We need another half hour, right? Mr. Producer, take us to break news on.
At One-on-One Pharmacy, our friendly staff is ready to serve you. Visit us today for all your prescription and over-the-counter needs at our East Street South or Charles Saunders Highway locations. We're open Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and from 9 to 4 on Sundays. In a rush? Send your refill scripts online at oneononepharmacy.com or ask about our convenient pickup service. One-on-One Pharmacy, providing personal health care with people at heart.
And we're back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Maritime Matters is about to close. Oh, that's a sad thing. We're going to try and get some more time for our next show because obviously our times just ain't enough. So as we close out, I'm going to give my guests the opportunity to just say to you, the listening audience, exactly how they're going to move forward with their organization and if you have any closing remarks pertaining to all the things that came up in our show today. Mr. President.
Yeah, let me just touch on one more thing. The organization is backed by a lot of international professionals, experienced professionals. Without saying too much, do a bunch of NDAs, I had to sign my life away. I had some experience in asset protection as it relates to ships moving through some of those same areas that we talk about, the Straits and the Gulf. So I definitely have a lot of experience, and I have a whole team that I can always call on to come down to the Bahamas at any time to do any training that we need done for port security, for ship security, and all of that. So our backing and our team and experience stretch very long, you know. So yeah, it's international. We have resources we can tap into at any time to bring a level of training here in the Bahamas that never been seen before. So in closing, we just would definitely like the first to thank yourself for having us on, and we definitely want to encourage everybody to join the organization. Visit the website. That's www.nfa.org.bs. Again, the website is www.nfa.org.bs. You can also search us on Facebook, National Firearms Association, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right, join the organization. You can contact with us. Anything you guys want to know, want to learn about, anything you may want to help out. We definitely would like to hear from a lot of the community associations out there, especially the crime watch organizations. Definitely want to hear from you, Mr. Breen. You definitely need to hit us up. Let's put this stuff together, so we can do some things as it relates to the maritime sector. I'm with you. I got you. I got your back. Let me know what you need. Let's do this. And you know, we have to do some things, make some changes. You know, and we just want you guys to come on board, join us. You know, let's do some things.
Okay, Brother Virgil.
Yeah, I just want to thank you again for having us and bringing the president on to say our vision and our goals for the nation as it relates to firearms. And again, thank you again for having us. And I just want the general public to come out, support what we're doing, because we can't do it without you. We need your support. It's good to call the radio shows, it's good to listen, but we need you to sign on and be a true voice behind this movement.
Okay, Madam Vice Chairman.
Yes, thank you again for having us. I'm the only female here, but I'm proud of these guys, and I haven't said much, but because they are more knowledgeable in a lot of areas than I am. But I do want to encourage the women to participate. There is a stigma out there, especially with women, with being afraid and all of the domestic violence and everything that's going on. And so besides firearms, we also want to encourage women to come out, sign up. Come and get some training, learn how to protect yourselves, and we have our swag initiatives coming up. We have our Refuse to be a Victim initiatives coming up. Go to our website, search us on Instagram, search us on Facebook, and sign up.
Beautiful. So in closing, I say thank you to the National Firearms Association of the Bahamas, President again, Mr. Malvin Gordon, Vice Chairman, Ms. Richetta Godet, Ms. Richetta Godet, and of course, my good friend, military man, Mr. Virgil Thurston Stark. Thank you very much.
Watching the ships